Okay, I think I am online. All right, thank you all. And it looks like I have sound, and I have too high a sound. Hello, one, two, three. That's a good sound. All right. So, um, I'm going to do meditation today focused on the seven rays and the influence of how that has a relationship to me and how the influence of those seven rays, the energy that comes from my seven rays, is the influence of change inside of all things. Right now, those seven rays aren't aligned in my ray package in the way that I'm created. And so I have a very specific chakra system. Like if you were to study esoteric Indian philosophy, go, oh, masters are like, open crown and great big open brow. Well, that's me. Yeah, I'm all those things. But one of the things that isn't understood is that level of enlightenment, the way in which the chakras are sitting for that person in that level of enlightenment. So chakras are different at different levels of enlightenment, different levels of consciousness. So in the world today, most of the chakras are dormant. Most of the chakras are weak in the process of how they relate and how they communicate. And chakras are directly connected to our glands and our organs and our meridians. So the influence of chakras, how they flow, whether or not they have the energy that's called chi, that is based in the very sacral center of the chakric system. That chi energy is the first initiatory quality in initiations. It's what aligns the chakras into a beginning stage of proper alignment, where you can actually take spiritual recapitulation. And when you reincarnate, you recapitulate because your chakras are now stable in that position. So when you leave your body, you come back with those chakras in that position, and it's much easier to recapitulate. That's how you recapitulate. It's not because of other things. It's because of the work you've done in previous lives. It comes back with you. But it could be dormant. If those chakras aren't supported in the world that you're in, and you don't do the things it takes in order to support them, then they are no better than anybody else's. They're dormant. They do not carry chi. They do not influence your physical well-being, your emotional well-being, all those things, because they have to be connected to the process of the higher and higher and higher chakric realities of the Masters and the Christ. So it really is a path of alignment, a certain point of integrity that aligns in a natural way that brings a person into their healing and makes them a healer. It's not in the process where you're the devotee and now you're super devotional, and that's the outcome. Where I come from, you become a healer, and you stop harming people. And that's the outcome. So it's not like you're going around healing people, raising the dead and stuff like that. But people suffer less in the world. And you see less of those energies of vitality going down, they're going up. So more and more people are having more spiritual thought forms. They're Devic, in their mind and stuff. And that's because under the influence of the hierarchy, under the influence of Christ, under the influence of normal nature, that flow telepathically moves, and it's Devic. But the Diva energy, the influences of the lower chakras, the influences of everyday chakric way of thinking, reacting, responding, all those ways of seeing things, are all part of the view of the three vehicles. The mental, emotional, and physical vehicle. So in Buddhism, one of the things we talk about is the fact that Buddha manifests as vehicles. In the mental vehicle as an emanation. This could be 400, 500 people. Could be thousands of people. Could be millions of people. They're all are emanating qualities that comes directly from Buddha. Buddha from that time, whether it be Adi Buddha, Sakyamuni Buddha, Manjushri Buddha, Maitreya Buddha, whatever the Buddha is of the time, emanations are manifested out of the vehicle of the incarnation of that Buddha. So those become disciples. Those become people who are connected and related and overshadowed through the influence of the teaching of the Buddha. But in reality, they're emanations. So that's the reason why they can become disciples. It's not as though you don't have to do anything in order to do this, to get that purity. So it's kind of preset up on a bodhisattva, Buddha, bodhisattva reality, in the Buddha reality. It is all emanations of Buddha. Everything, all the way down bodhisattva, your first awakening quality of healing inside yourself. And it's a self-healing. If I give you an etheric weaver, or you do prayer and you change your life and change, then you're healing. But it's self-healing. So that process is aligned to the energy of your sacral center. It's a natural process. But it's chi. And that's the influence that comes in from the hierarchy. The hierarchy has these three monadic realities. Because the hierarchy is monadic. So it's the Holy Spirit. It's the soul. And it's the influence of the will of God. So those same three monadic energies are expressed in the three emanations of the vehicles of the Buddha. So we get, the three monadic, all that, which is an enormous amount of uplifting, awakening energy in the body of all of humanity. Because these are monadic influences, and they're manifesting into body rather than all the way up into a monadic expression, which really requires a lot of soul, a lot of meditation, a lot of, letting go and learning and transmission and all of that influence. But when an incarnation of Buddha takes place, it's very auspicious. You get more than what you bargained for. Because the Buddha expresses out. But the Dark Lodge goes, oh, so that means people are emanations. That's not true. People aren't the emanations. Trees are emanations. Food you eat is emanations. The dog you see walking by is an emanation. The turtle is an emanation. All of it becomes emanations of Buddha. Where the Dark Lodge goes, well, but only human beings could be Buddha. Not true. So in the emanations, there's only truth. And it's not under the influence of the delusionary aspects that come from the Dark Lodge that makes all your limitations possible. In your physical, emotional, and mental bodies. Everything in the world is a suffering, a chaos, a lack of understanding, all these different things, simply because of the influence of that mental, emotional, and physical bodies that are constantly thinking or doing or reacting to things and becoming attached to those things. So that in the lower self, that influence is just a standard quality of psychic energy. And if you love somebody, it's really a solar plex. And it's a psychic energy. So you put it into the person. And the person then puts it back into you. So this creates an auric field of an influence between people. And does not necessarily mean that it's a good thing. It means that it's a stronger solar plex. A stronger influence of solar plex. And this can happen in every case, in anything you do. Whether you go out and you look at people, or you go out and deal with going to a store or anything, when you look at people, this solar plex comes into play. And it has a tendency to make people unholy. It doesn't see holy people. Yeah? It sees just people. People that do this and that. Yeah? Or maybe useful for this and that. Yeah? They're material things. Yeah? They're in an objective world, they're objects. Yeah? And they cannot be understood because of that objective reality. Yeah? All you can do is put labels on them and try and read it and, project and do all this kind of stuff. But, it's completely in a process of just the myopic scenario. Yeah? But inside the reality is the influence of the soul. Yeah? So there's always this loving reality going on. It's in the surface, it's in the body, it's in the emotions, and it's in the mental body. It's always there. Yeah? It's just whether or not it's being furthered by the influence of the higher side of things, which is monadic, up here in the higher mind, up here in the brow center, here in the throat center. These higher centers, these centers need to connect to. Yeah? They need to move up like that. Yeah? And connect. Yeah? But in humanity, the dominant center is the solar plex, because we're more interested in our personal objects. We either have them or we don't have them, or we're always looking for them, or we're needing them, or they're breaking down and we need to replace them, and all these things. Yeah, because everything is an object. Yeah, and that's on a physical plane, but it's also on an emotional plane, and it's also on a mental plane. So that creates a connection to where instead of receiving influence from above, it's pulling influence down. And it triggers what would be your awakened fifth ray. You're right here in your brow center, which is a natural thing you're born with. Yeah? It's not something you have to go through high initiations for. That's why they say a lot of children have very open intuition. They have more clairvoyance, more clairaudience, more higher telepathy, more higher psychic abilities, more love, more compassion, more caring, more able to be in a group. Yeah, it just depends, but it mainly is about the fact that we're all born with an open ability to have an open fifth ray. Yeah, and from that, we don't do any of that stuff. Yeah, we don't stereotype anybody. And when we look at a butterfly, it's like a brand new butterfly. And it's awesome. It brings an awe inside of you. You stop, you look, you think. You're more in that moment. And it's like that in everything. That's what that fifth ray is doing. Does that make sense? It allows you to be in that moment because you're having good clarity, good field of awareness. You're starting off that way. Yeah, you haven't had people moving you or directing you or influencing and all the other lower psychic influences that go on as you start to grow up. You start maturing and growing into this more insensitive process. That's more sensitive to that solar plex, because you may have a culture that says, well, you have to marry this person, you have to marry that person. You can't marry this person. You have to be more myopic, more myopic, more myopic. Everything you do, it has to be myopic. You can only do it if it's myopic. You got to follow the culture. You got to put your fork in the right place. You can only do it. You can only be correct. You can only be a good person, a sane person, a person who's going to fit in and get a good job and find a good husband and a good wife, as long as you follow these rules. Yeah, and that's all seventh ray. That's right there in your sacral center. The problem is that it comes from destroying your brow. Yeah, it comes from pushing your fifth ray closed. Any receptivity you would have if there was a Christ on the earth. And the influence of communication between Christ and yourself, rather than all these in-betweens. Can you imagine how many people stand between Christ and every living human being? Yeah? I mean, if you even go back to the time of Jesus, there wasn't any person standing near Jesus that wasn't in a freaked out state. Yeah? They weren't receiving the blessing. Yeah? They were like holding on for dear life. Yeah? And at the same time, they're like, should I be doing this? Is really, I'm going to go back fishing, So many other things to do, Am I the right person to do this, Things I've done in my past, I don't think so, Everybody else thinks I'm a creep, Make sense? Yeah. All that is what goes on around this being. Yeah. And imagine the Christ is actually pretty up. He's seeing things with revelation. He's seeing Christ on earth. That's a good thing. That's very, very self-realized. Yeah? But that is not what goes on in the person standing next to him. That person sees him as a person who could be used. Can you fix this? Can you do that? You're so good at this. How about that? Does that make sense? So it puts the process of where even Christ is stuck in that cog. Yeah? And every day is another cog Christ has to fight to stay out of. Does that make sense? Every day is a cog. It takes up your life, it takes up your time. It is not Dharma. It is samsara. Yeah? And it's Maya. Yeah? Does that make sense? Yeah? So if you're ever around me, if you actually are around me, you would notice that I am most of the time inactive, but wishing I could be active. But I don't express that I wish I could be active. Yeah? I'm just inactive because I'm in a state of not being active. There's only certain things I could do. I can make more music. Yeah? I can go and sit on thrones all over the world and let every single person in the world know that Christ is here. But that's not what I'm doing that day. I'm in a cog. Make sense? So my job is that I'm trying to fight the complete elimination of that cog on a day-to-day basis. And if I can get it to happen over 1 6-month cycle, it will close the door of Satan. Yeah. But that requires commitment in everyone who lives around me. They can't channel. Not 1 second, not 1 day, or we're back to square one. Does that make sense? It's not up to me. Yeah? It's up to whether or not you don't allow me to sit on my throne. You can kick me off this. I'm not even on a throne. I'm far from it. My throne is when I'm playing puja and I'm recording it and I'm getting it focused and I cut that sucker and get it out to the world. That's my throne seat. Does that make sense? It's my activities. And I've got videos, I've got concerts, I've got all this stuff that I do, but it's all done through a 4-2, which is spontaneity. Not under somebody saying, maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that, maybe you should go there, maybe you should. Make sense? That is my cog. Yeah? Yeah, because only God's telling me, and God is pushing people up like this to go from their energy up through the heart and into their higher centers so that they can provide this for me. Does that make sense? Just like the people in Nepal going, we're going to, if you get here, because they're in that energy. Yeah? Does that make sense? Yeah. So that's my energetic process, is the chakras of trying to change the dominant relationship people have to closing the reality of the fifth ray. Why doesn't everybody know Christ is here and he's 66 years old? Been here over 2,000 years. Yeah? And I'm very historically known. Yeah? And yet every single life doesn't connect me to the previous ones because I'm fighting for my life during that one. And I have to reform because they won't accept the previous teachings. They're still fighting over it. Does that make sense? It's a process. Yeah? And So I believe that it's a matter of when this spontaneity takes place, those are the three vehicles of the monad. And the emanations are radiated out of one person in this life, not through a million emanations, yeah, just through one, yeah. And that influence takes it up to the highest level and allows everybody to reach the influence of their crown center, yeah, where reincarnation and bodhisattva, all of those conscious understandings become parallel to a person's life, their own recapitulation, their own self-realization. Yeah? Does that make sense? Just like it is for every other tuku in potential. But it isn't, because there's too much of this negative force that goes on around. Imagine if there's light, yeah, light praying, and then all of a sudden it's interrupted with myopic processes, yeah? Well, what happens to the light? Yeah? It doesn't turn to darkness. Yeah? It becomes filtered by the very thing that's myopic. Yeah? So now that light has to sit there quietly, waiting for that myopic energy to slowly but surely become reverent and step away. Then the light begins to come back. Yeah? Does that make sense? I experience that about every 15 minutes. Yeah? And it shouldn't be that way. Yeah? Yeah? Yeah. So, let's do puja. I'm going to do the 7 rays, both 7 rays and 7 chakras, 7 rays and the nations, and then, what was the last one? Almost got this ready. Oops. Didn't turn out the way I thought. Just a second, please. Add to today's playlist. Okay. That didn't work. Oh, that did. Be right there. Remove. Okay. Seven chakras. And come on. Okay. And one more. No, that's it. Okay. Now start the invocation. Where's that? Okay, just close your eyes and relax. Okay, just repeat after me. I invoke the power, the love, and the wisdom of my ashram, soul, and monad to guide me into the right activity in the plan, to clarify and stimulate my mind, to transform and transmute my feelings and emotions, to energize and vitalize and heal my physical and etheric body, So there is a normal flow of energy in my physical and etheric body. Through this day and every day, I ask this in the name of the Christ to serve the One. All in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Okay, take a deep breath.
I invoke the 7 rays to raise the senses of humanity, expressed as the soul. I invoke the sense of hearing in the 7th ray, hearing the word of God, the word of power. I invoke the sense of touch as the 1st ray, as the finger of God. I invoke the sense of sight as the 3rd ray, as the eye of God. I invoke the sense of taste as the 6th ray, as the desire of all the nations. I invoke the sense of smell as the 4th ray, the beauty of revelation. I invoke the sense of intellect as the 5th ray, as the knowledge of God. I invoke the sense of intuition as the 2nd ray, the understanding of God. I through your personality. As the first ray of ideas, the mental body, the purpose, your life. The second ray of ideals, the astral body, and your quality. The third ray of items, your physical body and your form. The fourth ray of the fourth kingdom of humanity in balance. The fifth ray, the third kingdom, the animals. The sixth ray, the second kingdom, vegetables. The seventh ray, the first kingdom, minerals. I call upon the relationships of all the kingdoms to penetrate the personality of humanity and express its collective soul. The seventh ray and the fourth ray as the mineral kingdom. The second ray, the fourth ray, and the sixth ray as the vegetable kingdom. The third ray and the sixth ray as the animal kingdom. The fourth ray and the fifth ray as the human kingdom. The fifth ray and the second ray as the egoic soul. The sixth ray and the third ray as planetary lives. The first ray and the seventh ray as solar lives. I call upon the seven rays of all the nations to penetrate the planet Earth, to bring forth the geomantic relationships of the soul, to integrate the egoic ray and the personality ray of each nation, and to express its true expression, to make manifest peace on earth as one living whole body of God. I call upon India to bring forth its fourth ray of personality and to integrate its first ray of soul to manifest the hidden light. I invoke China to bring forth its third ray personality to preserve the truth. I invoke France and its third ray personality to integrate its fifth ray of egoic soul to release the light. I invoke Great Britain and its first ray personality and its second ray egoic soul to bring forth its service. I invoke Italy and its fourth ray personality to integrate its sixth ray soul to carve the two paths. I invoke the United States and its sixth ray personality to integrate its second ray soul to light the way. I invoke Russia and its sixth ray personality to integrate its seventh ray soul to link the two ways. I invoke Australia and its fifth ray personality to integrate its fourth ray soul and serve the lighted way. I invoke Spain and its seventh ray personality to integrate its sixth ray soul to disperse the clouds. I invoke Brazil and its second ray personality to integrate its fourth ray soul to hide the sea. I invoke the entity of this planet, the planetary logos, to incarnate the light and the beingness of this planet. I invoke the expression of the second ray force into both the personality and the egoic rays of the nation and the personality of the egoic ray of humanity, to fuse itself and its light into its healing process. I invoke the esoteric law of solar energy to make manifest the cosmic force of light, love, and peace. I invoke the power, the love, and the wisdom of your ashram, soul, and monad. To guide you into the right activity in the plan. seven rays. To your seven chakras. I invoke the alignment of the third ray. To your throat center. I invoke the alignment of the seventh ray. To your sacral center. I invoke the alignment of the second ray to your heart center. I invoke the alignment of the sixth ray to your solar plexus. I invoke the alignment of the first ray to your crown center. I invoke the alignment of the fourth ray to your base center. I invoke the alignment of the fifth ray to your brow center. I invoke the light of the Christ within. I invoke the nature of the Buddha that you are to become. I invoke the mind of the Davic angelic beingness song of love. Sacred sites, Om Great I invoke the healing through the meridians and the ley lines of this earth, the pulse of the seven rays, the awakening of the logos, the healing of humanity, the coming forth of the hierarchy, the saving grace of truth. Planetary logos, solar logos, cosmic logos. One God, one law, one I invoke the angel that you are to wake up. Science of redemption, science of God. Om sacred I invoke all mankind to dream in visions, to awaken, to live. Om unity and personality, Om Shanti.
Okay, just relax. Well, okay, so I'm just going to show a little bit about healthy chakras and unhealthy chakras. And the visual experience of the fifth ray is through the process of the eyes. The awareness in the open eyes, the seeing of the visual reality, and its manifestation to be interpreted is a holy event. So in the process of teaching, eyes are open. And with the eyes open, you have reverence. And those eyes remain open and look at the screen and understand the process of the fact that there are higher rays than one's own, and needs to see those rays as I speak, because the opportunity doesn't come after I speak. It only comes while I'm speaking. Okay? Since I'm the teacher and I'm the one who expressed these rays, for you to have a revelation, it comes through a ray, an influence of vibration. As I say fifth ray, that vibration had just passed through you. Whether or not you're attuned to it, is whether or not you reflect it. It could be sitting very strong in your sacral center. It could be sitting in relationship to your brow. It all depends on whether or not the influence of the vibration is harmonic with your influence. So that's why I physically incarnate. So I can hold the influence of the second ray, which is the ability to radiate pure white light as I speak. And it goes off into all these different rays. Nobody else could do that. So I have the ability to illustrate, and you could see at the same time. Nobody else can do that. That can stop your ability to listen to the Dark Lodge and see a false book, Maya. See conflict in the process of another person, what they've done, what they might do, circumstances, all that stuff burns up as long as you focus on me. Because those are qualities that come from entities that live in this world who do not focus on me. They use their own will and use their eyes to look at whatever they want, and not the focus of the teaching. So that influence has a very strong influence on the whole of humanity. No one can look at me. It's not a matter of looking at me, it's a matter of looking at the teachings when I say look at the teachings. Because it's a matter of direction. And it's the process of the fourth ray, which is really difficult to help humanity maintain, which is that base center, the influence of the base center. Harmony through conflict, all that stuff. What if people's misuse of that fifth ray and their thought forms create all the suffering in the world? Now, if that one ray could be stopped, just that one ray could be stopped, what's the possibility of Christ all of a sudden being able to have a healing power? Because it's that ray that keeps Christ from having a healing power. Because I heal and all of a sudden it goes away. So it's so fast unveiling the healing force. That even though the healing takes place, it's immediately devalued. Yeah? Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah. So it's the influence of that fifth ray that sits at the sacral center. That is the unhealthy aspect that comes from the influence of the brow. When that brow center on very high yogis, that have chosen to take the left-hand path, and life after life after life do irreverent things to the Lord. They cannot follow these rules. They simply can't. They have no control over their mental, emotional, or physical bodies. They cannot become an emanation. That is very difficult for the rest of humanity because they become the way showers of darkness. They're more stronger, more prolific. They're very educated. Ooh, they're so smart. And the influence of their knowledge, to them is what they should be recognized for. So everybody should listen. Everybody should pay attention. Everybody should do as they say because it's fifth ray knowledge. Does that make sense? And it's that influence that has to be relieved in humanity. And it's done by the ability to focus upon the teaching. I know, it's a strange thing, But that's why they do puja. You look at a puja and you read the puja and you say the words and do all that stuff and you stay focused in that teaching. You become empty, And the teaching becomes a vibration. And you become more empty, and the teaching becomes vibration, and your body becomes the transmission for the vibration to take place. So you keep doing the mantras, or you do the invocations, and you do all these different things. That's the right use of that fifth ray in the brow, and you have ceremonial magic going on in your relationships in life. Does that make sense? Yeah. And that's an influence of positivity. There is no such thing. This is all in the process over here on the healthy side. We are all agreeing that we are working out the plan. We are not on the side of seeing the plan having problems. Does that make sense? That's a dark lodge. They are not part of the plan. They're pissed off there is a plan. So the problem is that their interest is to point out the misdirected avenue in which the plan is not manifesting. Does that make sense? And it just, no matter what good you got going on, things will be pointed out that are obvious, but untimely. Does that make sense? And that's seventh ray. The working out of the plan happens from the seventh ray. God's in charge. It's in God's time, and it works out so fucking fast. Make sense? That it's just like you can't really see it working out. It's just all part of faith. It's all part of revelation. Does that make sense? It's so amazing. That's how the fifth ray works. When the fifth ray is relieved from the negative conjectures of spontaneous, but it's that expression that puts darkness around Christ. That's the expression that says, no, he's not. And it's not a no, it doesn't have to say it. It just has to have a negative influence inside the halls of the working out of the plan. Inside the temple, inside the halls, inside the vibration that is working out the plan. Does that make sense? Because it's really, the most important thing is to be in cooperation. And that means appreciation. God's doing it, so what's the process? Make sense? So it's all a matter of keep moving up into the process from the seventh ray that moves now into the third ray, which means a very positive thing. Oh, it's working out. You have no images of people having problems, people saying things happening that, I knew that was going to go on. All those things That's the third ray going down, hitting that fifth ray, going, yeah, we got him in the cog. Make sense? Yeah. Justified. Yeah, for sure it's not working out. Oh, this is just horrible. Can't trust this whole thing. It's all just falling apart. This is a piece of shit. I don't want to be here. Does that make sense? That's evil. That's really evil. Yeah? Yeah. And that expresses only from that third ray going down into the seventh ray. Because it just curses the plan. Does that make sense? It's cursing the plan. So the process is appreciation is revelation. Yeah? And appreciation is reverence. Yeah? And appreciation turns into cooperation. Yeah? And no one can take an ego. No one can take, I did this, or I don't know what I should be doing, this or what or that. Yeah? It becomes a process where the seventh ray actually is connected to the third ray, and you work out the process, and that's a joy. Does that make sense? Yeah? It's not, oh, I don't know how. Well, stay calm. Yeah? And the Lord will do it for you. But you're the freaking person who's going to do it. Yeah? Does it make sense? Because that gives wisdom, life experience through wisdom, and everybody goes through a process to where they feel that they can do whatever the Lord gives them to do. Whatever. Does that make sense? That means your life, your family, your whatever comes, yeah, the Lord is the one who gave it to you. And you don't get too much. Yeah? You get what you could do. Yeah. Does that make sense? All right. That's it. Okay. Thank you. Enjoy.